Senator Adams Oshiomhole has urged politicians to stop arming and recruiting unemployed youths to disrupt elections, warning that the practice fuels post-election violence and insecurity across the country. Speaking during the Senate plenary, the former Edo State governor said many violent crimes that follow elections stem from weapons distributed to thugs by desperate politicians. After every election, crime rise because those who armed and hungry youths can retrieve the guns, he stated. Oshiomhole stressed that such weapons are later used for robbery and other criminal activities, adding that the roots of insecurity are political, not social. He recalled telling fellow governors years ago that only powerful figures could afford AK-47 rifles used during polls. He called for sincerity among political leaders, urging them to allow Nigerians to hire and fire without fear through credible elections. If we commit to eliminating violence, we'll have free and fair polls, he said. Oshiomhole also advised the electoral body against holding presidential, governorship, and parliamentary elections on the same day and warned about cyber threats as Nigeria expands electronic voting. He concluded that political actors must make a moral commitment. Once we stop arming unemployed youths, 90% of our electoral problems will be solved. Do you agree with the senator?
This is laughable in the sense that I believe the system should be gone to town. What do I mean by that? The same Senator Oshiomhole was once NLC chairperson.
Yeah.
And after that rose to becoming the governor of Edo State. And the same senator came online to say, if you're in a party, I don't want to call the party's name, that your sins will be forgiven. And on all this that he said, in all this process he led to becoming a senator, there have been some level of elections that not that he voted for someone that he has contested.
Right.
Has he come up before this time to say that this so-called that politicians are arming boys or hoodlums with AK-47 rifles in course of elections? He has never mentioned that. It's becoming maybe I should also assume that he's knowing this now for the first time. After how many years he has contested, maybe when he contested this, he was not aware. He's coming to his intense mindset now that this is what is happening in the Nigerian system. We should practice what we preach. And on that part of it, it is glaring, not just because he has said it. In the Nigerian system, people are aware. The Nigerian masses are aware of all this that have been trended. But in similitude, we frown at politicians not even to the level of AK-47, even the fact of issuing even a machete or maybe something, a harmful object to some boys and urging them to go for an attack or a revenge in an election. I'm also frowning at these boys or these youths that one will call you for such level of harm. If I'm to be among these youths that maybe one is called, I will firstly ask this politician, you're giving me AK-47 for what? To go for an attack, okay. Where's your son? Your son should be among us. Okay, you that wants the victory, okay. You should also be in front. You should lead the squad. You should have your own AK-47 while we follow you suit. Not you at your beck and call, at your leisure. Maybe your children are abroad. While at your beck and call, you just see some you see some youths who are hustling for their 2 cents, urgent 2K, and you're arming them with ammunition for election. It is totally disheartening. if the system, I also thank God that the Nigerian system, we have a new INEC chairman. I believe the new INEC chairman, in his own magnanimity and his own priesthood, holistically, will curb this level of indecency. We should put up arsenals to see how AK-47s should not be anywhere close to the system, whereby guns or arsenals, different things that will not bring in free, fair and credible election should not be found within, even if from a councillorship election down to presidency, should not be found within the coffers of these elections. Thank you.
Now, you have raised lots of salient points as regards things that should be done from left to right. But I want to draw your attention to another angle, of this report. Right. During elections, Oshiomhole said arms are usually being given. Who is in charge of making sure that electoral materials are secured? The security agencies are in charge. Our security agencies, when you think about it, ready enough during the polls? Because people usually feed off weekends. Do you understand? When you look at when elections are on and ballot boxes are snatched, people usually say, oh, it's INEC. It is not the job of INEC, if you would agree with me, to protect electoral centers. They don't work alone. It's not necessary. INEC is not a security agent that they have guns. Do you understand? Now, when you look at it in that way, don't you think that we should also concern ourselves a little bit with the infiltration in our security? Because when these people come with guns, is there a counterattack to get the ballots that they came to steal when they are being engineered? Also, another angle of this is, what are your thoughts as regards, the youths realizing that this country belongs to the youths? Why do you think that hasn't sank in? That if you do this for a few pennies here and there, a few thousand naira here and there, you're going to have a long stretch of time. Why do you think these angles haven't sunk fully into the minds of youth, employed or unemployed?
I believe it should. Mostly our politicians, they have turned it. Okay, let's look at it from this viewpoint.
Okay.
Now, these youths that have been given these ammunitions, these guns, for electoral violence. How do these politicians, how do they get these guns for these youths? Now, okay, let's look at, because I believe we don't have any company within Nigeria that produces ammunitions like AK-47s.
No.
There's none in the country. So how have they been shipped into the country? That is to say, the security agencies, which are mainly custom duties and all that are supposed to be concerned in checking of ammunitions that have been shipped into the country. That's on one part. And from the angle of these security agencies, police force, and military and all that have been, how do these politicians, how do they get these guns? So Senator Oshiomhole is concerned now, and every mini Nigerian and every politician should be, how are we going to curb these guns getting to the politicians firstly, then before the boys, because the boys who cannot get access to these guns if these politicians do not give them these guns. So disrupting the chain, then moving to the final consumer, it is appropriately not okay. So let's start it from this one, from the politicians, hitting more on the politicians, then in extension, security agencies and the custom duties. Then finally, before we will now hit on these boys. And that's not saying that these boys are being exempted, no, they're not exempted, because they are the youths that are pushing for this. Because I believe, even if, for instance, as I'm here, a law-abiding citizen of the country, as I'm talking to you, even if you place an ammunition here, I don't know how to operate it. So even if you cannot lure me into doing that, because I wouldn't, because it is from the heart of hearts. Because the heart should firstly be willing.
Right.
So there's no matter of preaching or admonishments that you make, that we want to make one whose heart is against it want to accept that. So the youths on their own, they should stand vehemently to say, enough is enough. This is not the right way. We are not accepting this. If you have intention to rule or to serve in a nation or whatever sector, come out holistically and campaign. If you win, you win. You lose, go back and rethink and come back.
Right.
Let's hear your manifesto and let's see the much you can do. And fun enough, moving on to the politics a little, I'm grossly against this idea of maybe a patient coming to say, if I become the governor, if I become the president, if I become the local government chairman, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to build a health care center. I'm going to build schools for you. That is, there's a notion that is totally wrong in the system. We shouldn't. That should not be a campaign word, because these are basic things that should be in the system. Right. Just like I am telling my child, my son, that if I become your father, you're going to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No. Or having me as your father, you eat. No. These are norm. It should be. These things should be. It is not a campaign. Okay, and also the parts that I believe the masses should also ask these questions. Now, I don't need to be a politician. I don't need to be a local government chairman. I don't even need to be a governor or a president for me to know that in my community that there's no pipe-borne water. And people are fetching water from the streets, and I have the money for me to drill borehole for my people, my relatives, my friends, my people who are my neighbors to benefit from. If I have the money and the money is there, I don't even need campaign to build a healthcare center for the community. No, I don't. Okay, the secondary school or the university out which I graduated from, I don't need a campaign. I don't need to be made in any of these to hold any of these positions in the government for me to know that I should build a structure for my institution. I should build a structure for my. No, I don't need these things, or I don't need to be a politician. For me, there was one I saw. I don't want to mention the local government chairman that came on air and listed 50 persons that is buying jam forms for them. I was angry with that person. I said, you're a local government chairman. You're bringing these persons, picturing them, snapping them on the air that you bought jam forms from. What a jam form for crying out. Okay, you bought jam forms for who will pay their school fees? No, so then the system is the system that okay, you bought 50 jam forms for them and you're bringing them to the world. The world should see that you bought 50 jam forms for your constituency, your people, your brothers and sisters.
Out of state coffers.
Out of state coffers, out of the local government. These are things that you should do and should not be done. Even if someone places it on, you say, no, remove that. No, it is a place. You don't even need to be a local government chairman. You don't even need to be a governor for you to even buy these things for these people. For you to even look at people and say, okay, I'm giving free scholarships, I'm giving this. These are what we call community service. In the Western world, it is called community service. It's services to humanity. And now you're pushing that. So it is gross level. I believe our politicians should be reorientated. There should be some level of orientation given to them that there are some things you shouldn't bring on air. And also, in line, I believe that this social media should also help out. That there are some things that we post online. People should be able to comment to say, no, this is off.
We do have that sort of leverage.
There's some persons who should say, no, this should not be a campaign. A campaign. This should not be a viewpoint. This should not be. These are things that on one's page, you do this freely for humanity.